Hey guys, Bill's Welding and Grinding. Also tried watching trailers. I'm a bit like that too. If you watch too many trailers, they just go rusty. Hey James, hey Peter. Hey Stuart. It's not Friday yet. Mark Osborne, good day. Gosh, there's a lot of chat to leaf through. Anyway, here we are back in the shed. Not going to be a long live stream, but we'll get through it. Stuff happening. I'm stuffed. I'm sore. I've had 2 days off this week already. I had to work today, and I'm feeling it a bit. Big candles mostly, and yeah, putting together D-handle shovels. Anyway, hey Nigel. Here we are. We're in the shed. There's a digger here. In the shed with a digger and a steamroller and a bit of other junk. We'll have a look at it. Yeah. There is another mill turned up. This belongs to Stuart Mackey. It's not mine. Not responsible for it. It's been sitting outside for a bit. It's a Cincinnati. I don't know very much about it, except that it's a copy mill and it's got a slotting attachment on the back. So it's fairly solid, fairly rigid. It's got a bent crank handle here. I believe it's probably R8 spindle. It might not be, to be honest. It could be more stapled with an R8 adapter. Not sure about that. That looks like an R8 collet chuck on it. I just unscrewed that then. Quill works. Don't know anything about the copy attachment or the crank over jobby here. It will crank that way, and I think it'll. I don't know. Yeah, it'll crank the other way as well. So we can get compound angles on it, which might be fun. But big heavy mill might be useful for something, I'm not sure what. Gonna have to get a manual or something and have a bit of a look at it and see how it goes or what it needs. It needs rewiring pretty bad. It's a bit ordinary. It's got a slotting attachment on the back, which will be useful. So, big, heavy, solid mill. The other thing too is if you turn this around so that this sticks out the back, I think it'll touch the wall and the slotting attachment will come over here. It's nowhere near trammed. If you look at this here and here, it's all over the show as far as that goes. So, yeah, that's here. We've still got no three-phase power though. Mine's still sitting there with the extension cord on it. This hasn't even got a plug on it. They are multiplying a bit. There's still a blade to go there at some point. So there's that. What else have I done? What else are we doing here? No lights in the kitchen yet. It's still dark. A whole lot of dark in there. That's about it. Did start a bit of a picture on the front of the locker. More of that later when I've done some more. I've actually made some progress. Had the drill press out and running today. That's a bit ordinary. Not crazy good. Have been messing with this a bit, which is our donation box. It's another lathe that I'm working on. It's not very big yet, but it's starting to come together. It's actually looking pretty good. Needs a treadle on the front here, and a pulley, and a crankshaft through here. If anyone knows how to bend up a bar crankshaft so that the end's lined up, it just needs a bend here and bend here and bend here and bend here, so that it still spins in the holes nicely and doesn't wobble. Let me know. I still yet to Google that, but that'll have a pulley on this end here, and then that'll drive the headstock round, and more importantly, it'll drive the guy's foot up and down on who's operating it, the operator's foot. Probably more so than actually do any turning. So I'll have a little headstock and hey Randy, a little headstock and a tailstock and a tool rest, and a guy standing in sort of this side of it here somewhere. So flat plate with pins in the bends, that might work too. I don't know. I was just hoping to get a bit of weld wire and bend it up, but I don't know, without making a press jig or whatever. I don't know how to do that. So anyway, that's coming together. It's got a timber bed on it already, and I've put the two pieces through here, and I've drilled for here for the crank. Put the crank and the flywheel through, and the treadle, and hopefully that works. I just wanted to move the treadle up and down without jamming, so we'll see how that goes. Should work fine that way round. Just a pulley on the outside down through here with a belt. Crazy steam lady, yeah, that's correct. So that's come along nicely. It's looking good actually. It's all sitting nice and flat and level, more so than expected. Probably paint these dark green and the rest of the bits too, and going to have to rethink the scale a bit because this turned out taller than expected. And not so much. The figures turned out shorter than expected is what actually happened. I was thinking, I looked at a sketch of an adult figure and just figured that the head was 1/8 the size of the height of a figure. Which means this head goes up here and the head looks a bit small. Okay, it looks pretty lanky. So maybe, right, but anyway, I think the actual reality when I measure me is about 7.2, so that means that this guy is only this tall. So I might need bigger heads. And I think polymer clay and some timber and stuff, and some hooks and things, and we'll make all that work. This will come together fairly quickly now. I've sort of got some direction on it and made some sketches and things about what I want. So anyway, that's where we're at. That's happening. Oh. Anyway, eventually we'll get that working. Nice. That's something we've been messing with. The rest of this pattern, another match board for this pattern. Put hair on it, yeah, or a hat or something. We call him Stretch. So this is the other half of this pattern for these valves. And the board for them. They've still got to have gates and things, basically the same as this one. This one's finished, ready to go. So it's starting to look all right. Bandsaw hasn't got fixed yet. No, we're still waiting on a board for it. The extension cord hasn't been fixed either. If you have a look, still got exposed wires, but we have got plugs for the extension cord, which is a good start. The drill press got fixed. The drill press is a bit of a work of. It's not real good. Mind your ears. It's pretty terrible. There's no table lift, so if you undo that knob, it just falls off. And there's no quill return. It's got a broken spring or something in here. So it's not real good, and it never had a chuck key. I found a chuck key, but not really impressed with the drill press. We were looking for an upgrade for that. We have a plug to put on that bench grinder too at some point. And we've got another extension cord here that needs plugs and sockets. I've got plugs and sockets. So we're doing okay. If we have a look in here, what did I get? Can't remember. I think I've got 3 plugs and 1 socket. So probably should have got 2 sockets. I've got a socket. And if you would, that'd be great. And I've got some plugs. So I've got a clear plug for an extension cord and clear socket. And I've got a couple of plugs for appliances. Got one of these pulley-pull light switches to go in the ceiling with a string. For that light up there, because we're only going to plug that in the power point. So that's just sort that out. That's easy. That's what we did. What else did I get while I was in town the other day? Oh yeah, some bolt storage. We've got a bolt storage problem, to be honest. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, we've got a bolt storage problem at this point. It's going to be fixed. What I've done is got, I don't know if this is the answer or not, but it's going to work, I think. Got some top hat purlin here, little stuff, sealing purlin. It's the only one they left at Bunnings, and it's got a bit of a bow in it, but anyway. So what I'm going to do is bolt that over here, right? I need to get a couple more of them. Because what I'm going to do at this point is bolt it between there, screw it between there and there. One here and one here. And on the top 2, we're going to have a bit of a steel rack or something for all this junk. This is welding consumables and stuff like that, short stuff, engineering plastic, that sort of thing. It could go on a short rack up here, it'd be really nice. And down the bottom, I think, we've got a couple of these. These are Australian made, and they look pretty good to me, and they were cheap from one of the storage shop fitting places in Coffs. So I've got some of this. This is actually plastic. So if we bolt a couple of these on, This one's actually busted somewhere. Anyway, no biggie. Bolt a couple of them together, probably because they've been kicking around the floor here. For a start, like such. Hey, Mark. And we got a box full of these, right? Like so. So that sort of solves our storage problem to a certain extent, I hope. These aren't made in Australia, these are made in India. But this actually got made in Australia written on it. So that's the job for this weekend, is to put them up. And I've got a couple of different sizes, so that's another job that needs doing. Hopefully this weekend I'll get another couple of them if someone's got them in stock, and I can put them up sort of at that spacing so that there's two short ones that far apart, one here, one there, and one there. On the wall over there, 1, 2, 3, and then we can screw these to it. It should be very good. And put some sort of a rack up the top at some point. The other job for Saturday is this workbench. It's a bit terrible. It's got a bit of 16 gauge or something on it. It's rusted out and tacked in about 3 spots. Grinder job to get rid of that. Toss it. And 2 bits of plywood, I think. I've got this short bit because it's a bit more than 1200 wide. It's about 13, I think. 14 wouldn't hurt. So I've got this piece. If I slice this down the middle here in 2 bits, this bit and this bit, and then get 2 more full sheets and overlap them. So glue this on one sheet and this on the other sheet and turn them around half a turn. And stick it all together, maybe even biscuit them up or something so they're good and solid. And we should have a decent workbench. I can put a coat of varnish on it and it'll be hard wearing and great. Before we do that, it'd be nice to get at least a coat of primer around the top. So there's a bit of a job in that. Anyone who wants to come on Saturday and give us a hand, it'd be great. I think it'd be me and Paul at this point. So before then, I've got to get all this stuff off the stinking workbench. We've got blocks of wood here everywhere. We've got a breaker bar, we've got a grinder, got a couple of tins of spray. What are we doing over here? Right, made this plate for the top of the piston and top of the cylinder. And I've welded an M24 nut in it. These all scrapyard bits. Insulation behind sheets, it mightn't be a bad idea. So this has got a fair bit of force on it, as much force as I can put on it with a 3/4 breaker bar. And it's been hot once and it's full of inox to soak it, right? It hasn't showed any sign of moving yet. I'm probably at some point, probably Friday or Saturday or Sunday or something, I'm going to get it hot again. Big LP burner. We'll get it hot again and let it cool off a couple of cycles, and then we'll get some real pressure on it and see if we can move it. Which may or may not work. If I can get that piston rod out, it'd be fantastic. Be very happy with that. If we could get that cover off, even better. I believe when we filled it up that this is actually, because this is all oily underneath here, so probably it's leaking out here somewhere. I don't know where. It's probably half a tin of RP7 in here, which is, or inox or whatever it is. Don't know. Anyway, it's obviously going somewhere because it's not evaporating because it's still wet on top, but this level's gone down quite considerably, so it's going somewhere. Whether it's just soaking into the dirt inside, I don't know. We'll see what's happening. But let's see if we can get this broken free. I'll get it hot again. I'll get it too hot to touch. With the LP, we should be able to do that, and then start thinking about trying to move it. So that's something I'm working on. We've got bits of Dan's engine here. It's starting to come to bits. Dan's got a little tangy pattern. Hornsby, that makes no sense at all. It's a Hornsby engine, Richard Hornsby and Sons, but it's a tangy pattern with the round back in the crankshaft, like the tangy. Soho pattern, I guess you'd call it. A lot of companies made a copy of that engine, but the round crankcase is a horizontal. That's over here behind the digger. I'm going to have to go round. So it's in the electrolysis bath. I don't know if it's actually, there's much rust coming out of it now. We need to turn it over, and I really am, probably it's too big a job on my own. So at some point, something needs to turn it over. What we could do if the steam roller on the digger wasn't here, if the digger wasn't here, we could get the shop crane in here and lift it out and turn it over. But at this point, I don't think I can do that. I might make it happen on Saturday when this digger goes out. We can pick it up and turn it over and put it back in, because I think there's quite a lot of dirt come off it and rubbish. It's got an electrolysis current hooked up to it. But that's the cylinder off Dan's engine. It's coming up all right. It's a bit rough inside, but it's not anywhere near as bad as mine. So, I don't know, what else is happening? The digger's right here. That's a valid point, except that fills the place up with diesel fumes. It's a bit of a problem. Could use the digger. If Stuart comes and moves the digger, I might get him to lift it out and lift it back in. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to sit over here on the seat for a bit. Morphet 1976, g'day. Cover it with a rag soaked in the bathwater. That might work too, but I could just fill the tin up. But I think what I'm probably getting, we'll just turn it over and do the other half. It's not a big deal. It's just it's fairly heavy in that tin. There's a bit of weight in it. Dan and I lifted in there, so Dan and I would probably lift it out without any problems. If someone else comes down on Saturday, we might both lift it out and see how it goes. If Stuart's around, he can give us a hand. He's pretty helpful. Yeah, so that's sort of what's happening here. Pretty much. So a whole lot of nothing, to be honest. There's zero action happening with that little Bay of Peacock engine. It's soaking. It's been hot once. It'll be hot again a couple more times, I guess. Donation box, yes, I've done a little bit of work, but like half an hour, seriously, to put that together. It wasn't a big job. What did we do on the weekend? We had a weekend. Who was here? Oh, there was some work done at the railway on the weekend. The fence is looking pretty good, and there's gates across the railway and stuff now. Some of the ditches are a bit clean and battered off nicely. All that stuff. There's a big tree to come down next Saturday, I think. And the Friday after that, there's I've got the Friday off to go and help move the roller as early start. But honestly, it's Australia Day this next weekend, I think. So at some point there must be a public holiday, and I haven't got a clue where that is or when. I guess I've got a day off at some point. No idea. In New South Wales. About 7 Tuesdays, that's correct, Bill. It was only about a half hour. I messed around with it for a couple of quarter of an hour periods, to be honest. Got to get under that roller and take that injector off. I've been saying that for a while, but it might happen this weekend if it stays a bit cooler and I get an extra day. We probably should film that, see what's going on, and make a bit of a video out of it. It'd probably be a really good idea. Put that on YouTube. Next Monday there are 26. Righto, thank you. Means I don't have to go to work on Monday. Probably is really nice. Might get the injector off this weekend, but there's a fair bit to do. I think Paul's coming anyway if Dan doesn't. I don't know who else. I think Stuart's coming as well. So we'll get some stuff done, but that might not be on this. The workbench rebuild is probably more important. And I've got to have a bit of a think about that little crankshaft and how to make that up. What would be nice is just a bent piece of bar. But getting it exactly right is a bit difficult. Whether you use a soft bit of rod and make a press die with a relief in it the same as a crank. I don't know if just marking it and bending it round is going to be accurate enough, to be honest. If anyone's got any ideas, that'd be great. We'll have another look at that. I might be going to get up in any second. Here we go. Oh my gosh. It's been a big day. in here on this workbench. So here's the little lathe frame. It's looking pretty good actually. It's not terrible. I've just used a bit of welding wire here and put a 7BA thread on each end because it's 2.4mm. And a nut each side, one here and one here on both sides. And I've screwed this on with some brass wood screws, so that's all right. Next thing we need is probably a little headstock and tailstock and a treadle. We have like a little treadle on here running on a tube or bearings or something on this rod. Probably on a long tube would be best. And that way the guy's foot can be glued to that and his knee can go up and down. So what this needs though, anyone who's coming late, is a crankshaft here that lines up and doesn't have too much wobble, just a bit of bend, the same as this probably, with a bend in it. It's probably a bit over here on the bench. We'll have a look at it. Oh, I'm old. Really am, actually. So this will go here. What we want is a crankshaft here on this crank, and a pulley on here that's got to be what, 40mm, 60mm, 70mm, something like that. I think there's room for a 70mm pulley in here, and another pulley on the outside to turn it. And all this pulley will do is turn the headstock for a visual effect, and this little pulley on the outside will drive this from down below the board somewhere, from the mechanism in here, and this little crank will move the I'll move the treadle, and then he'll just crank his leg up and down. Knee trembler in the back shed, is that something you're familiar with, Bill? You know more about that than me. Anyway, so that's what I'd like to do, is bend this up into a crank. I've got plenty of welding rod. I could just sort of try it till I get it right. But I think the correct way to do it is to make like a mill out a die and a former and bend it round. Don't know. Anyway, that's where that's going to be. The lathe part's all decorative, but really this is just a mechanism that looks good and moves his foot up and down on the treadle, or rocks it, you know, so that his knee probably goes. It's one for Peter, something like that. That's the action we're looking for. ATMB. And then there'd be a rod up behind him to move his head and his arms and his shoulders. I think his shoulders are going to swivel this way for turning, so he's going to stand here, and then his shoulders are going to move backwards. Whoa, how can we show this? I'm really clean, you can see that. His shoulders will move like this, from this side to this side for turning. And then he throw his hands in the air and roll his eyes and so forth when something else happens. So that's where we're at with that. Anyway, got to make a crankshaft next and some pulleys. I'll probably make a matchbook like this, or a match board like this. with all the bits screwed onto it so I can get everything lined up nicely. So the pulley, headstock and the tailstock. I don't know what I'm going to do with the treadle. I do have some nice perf metal, but it's in short supply. A bit of tin might work, a bit of brass and paint it black. I don't know. What I do have over here is this piece of perf metal, which might be very good. Now, I'm saving this for a job, but I can probably spare a little bit this big. That might make a very nice little, I think that might make a very nice little treadle. And we could just silver solder a tube on the back of it. And that's probably all it needs. A bit of a bend for a stiffener, fold it up. Anyway, we'll put a wire edge around it or something. Still thinking about that. Next week we might have some more progress on it. We'll see. What else? Yeah, I've been messing with this over here too. There's another job. There's one for James. Screwed this into this cover and it fits on there, see? We've got a taco. That's sort of all right. It needs a piece of coloured plastic on it, whether we use this piece or what we do, I don't know. I'm guessing these flash are red letters and that mightn't look too bad on it. I don't know. Whether we cut that out or whether we cut the top off that and screw it on. It's a bit big really. Whether we just make another 3D printed frame and cut a piece of this out with the hacksaw. It's glued on or moulded in or something. Polycarbonate maybe, I don't know how to cut with a hacksaw. Maybe we'll break it before we even get there. But the main problem is, and you can see this at this point, there's a couple of main problems, but this is one of them. First is that even though this is bolted in nice and square here, that 7-segment display, put it right way up, is not square to the board. It's a bit ugly, to be honest. So it needs swinging around and fixing. And I think this piece could do with being cast out aluminium to match, with proper Lorch paint on it. Soldered late on Friday, that's exactly right. Going to drill a hole through here for the Hall effect sensor so that it works on that bush there with a magnet. There's a magnet there, you can see that. The problem I have with a magnet in there is that it collects dirt and dust and stuff and it goes between the sensor and there. I don't like that very much. So if anyone has a better idea than a magnet and a spacer, because this will bolt in here on the edge, if we add a piece to this bracket here, that'll bolt on there nicely, down there, run through there, with a hole all the way through, and just the wire sticking out. Down about this level here, somewhere on the centre. So that'll work. An optical one would be better though, I think, because the magnet's just going to collect crap. Anyway, got to get one of them, and something about an inch shorter than that would be very good. Optical encoder. I'm going to Google that term as well. If we get something about that long, it'd be excellent. And I can certainly make a plastic bush to go over this lock nut nicely. Slide on with a lock of some sort so that it doesn't turn, and put whatever it needs to go in that. And then put the encoder or whatever through here, run into the board there with the tacho. Now the problem with the Hall effect is that it's got to be doing some sort of speed to actually work, so it won't count revolutions without them being in sequence. So you can't have it set so it'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which would be very nice. But finding something that does that to fit this space is a bit difficult. Anyway, that's something else that's happening. I've done a few jobs on this lately. I intend to put a cabinet down there. That's what the perf metal's for, actually. And we had a look at that last night on On-Shape live stream. There's 2 little fold-out tills in here with perf metal backs and a nice timber box. I think it'd be good. Hasn't happened yet. Job when I get the mill up and running, about the first job, because I'm getting a bit sick of this, is to take this shaft out of here and put keyways in it for this pulley, and for the end, even flats for the end pieces, but keys would be better. And for this pulley here and this pulley here, which are actually the fixed ones, and have these spin with decent oilers in here rather than just screws. So some actual plunger top oilers in here. So you can actually oil these, it'd be great. So that's a job for as soon as we get the mill. This pulley in particular, needs a key in it pretty bad. So we've got a broken oiler here. I haven't fixed that yet. I have every intention of doing so. Hasn't happened. Didn't even go as far as to find a bit of hex to make it out of, but we'll do that one of these weekends when I've got a spare hour. I think I showed you the lock on this. That's all sorted. That works. It's good. It's another job. Another job for the mill when we get it going is to take the back off that and trim it down a bit thinner, which is the agent's plate for the roller. So that's another job. Plenty to do. Plenty to do. Ooh. I think we've got 2 weeks, a week and a half, and there's a new roller. The Aveling comes into this part of the shed here, so that's going to happen too at some point, I think. Well, I know, but when, I don't know. Put a little bit of a mural on this toolbox. I just painted out an oval. It's a bit rough. Painted out an oval here, and I'll probably put like a scene, or when this is dry properly, it's not yet. Put a bit of a scene with a couple of traction engines and a building and a tree or something here, and a rope board around it to cover up the ugly. And that'd be nice on there. I think that was my thoughts. So more of that as it progresses. Got a blackboard up there. The blackboard paint I've got doesn't seem to be very blackboardy. It seems to be more green than blackboardy. I might give it another coat and see what happens, but I've been stirring it and stirring it and stirring it with very little success. But there's a to-do list blackboard to go up somewhere. The matching one of these lockers is over there. It's a bit rough. There's a difference between them. That might at some point get this treatment because this has come up pretty nice. Anyway, there's another pegboard I think to go over here. So we'll put another one of these up over here at some point and put the probably another light and a longer bench or something down here. This is our foundry moulding bench that's here sort of until we get a foundry up and running, which could be years. But we'll see how that goes. Excuse me. Gosh, I think my tea's finished. Is my tea finished or is a cup of tea still going here? I'm going to see a cup, which is a good start. It's finished. It's done. That was good though. Anyway, that's what we're all about. That's what's happening this week. I've had 2 days where I didn't do very much at all. It's Monday and Tuesday. I sort of stayed in bed a bit. And I did go to shopping on Monday and got all those things for here. I guess I've got to go in on Friday too and get workbenches and stuff. If I was independently wealthy and didn't have to work, I'd be with this stuff that would happen here. But anyway, at this point. I would go to work and make a few hammer handles. Or actually this week, pick handles. And spade handles, or fork handles. Anyway. That's probably about it for me. Too dark to have a look outside and there's not much progress there with the sawmill at all. I'm not really dirty. This is probably about as dirty as I get, and it's only because I've been working here in the workshop for an hour when I got home. I do get a bit of sap on me, but mostly it's pretty clean. I'm still fairly dusty, but yeah, it's a bit black. That's how it is here. Excuse me. Probably going to call this one finished because I'm ready for some dinner and some bed and a shower and get up and do it all again tomorrow. And Friday too, I've got a drill press quill to take out and fix, I think, on Friday. That'll be a fun job. I don't know, there's much else to add. That's about all that's been happening. I've done a bit of CAD work this week, but we had a look at that last night and it's not that exciting. Been messing with the Bolton number 12 beam engine, CADing it up to see where the errors are and things. So far I haven't found any. We moved on to the valve gear and the slide valve and valve chest and stuff. And then get all the bits on it, and if there's no errors, we really need to get in and make some steam engines, I think. That's probably what needs to happen, or at least some engines of some sort. It'd be good to get Also need some incentive to get back and actually make videos for YouTube, because I'm a bit slack with that because I never got time. Never time to edit or upload, and I've taken video and it's crap. So I sit down and think, geez, it's a big job to edit that on software that I really don't know or can't understand or I haven't got anymore. So it doesn't happen. Sorry, guys. I'd like to see that running too, TMB. That's something I'd like to make and get going. There's not many bits left. There's piston and conrod. Got to hone the cylinder and hone the piston and get it all fitted up. And some timing gear and a rocker on the head. There's not much more to do. Really, to be honest, that's about it. So we'll see how that goes. As for the Stewart 400, we don't mention that one. I'd like to see it going too, but it's too big a job and there's too much needs reworking on it, to be honest. Bridge too far, but the little hit and miss that I've been working on, that's definitely doable and it'll go soon. I'll get down here and do some stuff as soon as I've got a mill and a lathe up and running. There's still, the lathe's not quite set up as well as it could be. It's got a few teething problems still from shifting it and pulling it down and putting it back together. We'll eventually get there. We'll see how we go. Apart from that, that's about it. I'm not about to get under the roller and pull that injector off live. It's not going to happen. I'm not feeling the mood to get down on the concrete and stay there for an hour and fix that. But anyway. Fridge has turned up late again. Good stuff. We're all very how. It's a Henley, yes. For exact horsepowers and things, you'll have to ask Dan. It's just a convenient spot to sit, and that's the view. So sorry, guys. It's probably going to be Discord chat while I get some dinner. I'm going to have some fish and some mushrooms and some veggies and some mashed potato and a couple of hot cups of tea. All the hard work's done there. Fridge has been here today already, so there's nothing I can do to update him on anything. There's the mill. There's our new bolt storage. Working on that. And there's the lathe. We've had power drop out twice tonight since I've been here. I'm surprised it's still on. There's the lathe for the donation box. Pretty well finished. There's the match board for the rest of that valve. So we've got castings for that if anyone needs a nice half-inch gas valve or a 3/4 BSP drain valve or a 1/2-inch or 3/8 BSP inline valve. Hey Kevin. So that'll be a very useful thing to have. And there's the rest of it. Anyway, that's that. I was going to do some cleaning up today. It never happened. I haven't done a lot. Anyway, I'll turn some lights off. I'm going to go. I'll be on Discord if anyone wants to chat. Absolutely. We'll catch up with you. Yeah, we're trying to get, what we need is to get that Hindley up and running on the boiler with a generator. It's doable. It was nice when the power come back on, Bill. It always is. I had to go and flick the switch, that's all. Hopefully at some point we get it sorted. Anyway, I'm out, guys. Thanks for that, and more soon. And hopefully I'll get some actual footage of anything and upload it to YouTube at some point. Promise.